What up, though? And welcome to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. We have 50-50 weekend, man. We have a great week. We blew out the Cowboys, so that is great and wonderful. But we'll get to that celebration. Before that, we may as well address the elephant in the room. The biggest topic in Detroit: Aiden Hutchinson goes down, out for the season. Um, Marcus, are the Lions done? Can they recover from this? Or, what are we supposed to do, man? How you feeling?
Uh, the Lions season is not over. Um, Leading up into the game, my expectations of winning the Super Bowl on a scale of 1 to 10, I had them at an 8. Losing Hutchinson brings it down to a 6. I think if the Lions are able to go out and go into Minnesota and end their undefeated season, that would put me at a 7. But yeah, you're right. Right now, the whole talk of the town right now is do we go out and make a big move to essentially replace Hutchinson?
Yeah, man. From my end, man, I think I'm a little more optimistic than other people. Don't get me wrong. I understand uh, how detrimental it is for us to lose Hutch, man. That is a big time blow to our defense. But as far as our Super Bowl chances, man, I think at the beginning of the season I was at like a 9, and now I'm probably about 7 or 8. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think everybody is. I mean, rightfully so. Everybody is panicking, rightfully so. But I still think that we have significantly better defense than what we had last year. Our offense is top tier, if not the best offense in the league. So if we can, put up the points we've been putting up the last couple of weeks, I think the last 3 games we put up 40 points. Now I'm not saying that's sustainable every week, but if we can put up big numbers and our defense can be 3/4 to a half of what they've been, and just hold off drives when they need to. They don't even have to be as good as they've been and keep defenses under to 20 points. But if they can just be as half as good, just make stops when they need to, then I think we'll be all right. I mean, we still got Brian Branch out there making plays, punching balls, getting interception. We still got Kirby Joseph out there getting four interceptions, and I think in the last 4 games, or 3 interceptions in the last 3 games. I forgot how it is, but he's like number 2 in interceptions. I think we'll be all right, man.
Yeah, Kirby tied for number 1 in interceptions in the league. Hutch was leading the league in sacks. It is going to be a big loss. We talked about it, but I before this game and all the way leading up to this game, I was all on board on doing everything we could to get Max Crosby. Even if it wasn't Max Crosby, I was all on board on mortgage in the future to go out and get a defensive end opposite of Hutch. But with that being said, now that Hutch is gone, this idea of replacing Hutch, I'm not really on board with that. It makes sense because obviously Hutch will be back. So even if you got a Max Crosby, take for instance, Crosby's got 3 years left on his deal, so he would replace Hutch for this year, and then you would have 2 years of Hutch and Max Crosby, which is cool. But at the same time, now that we're in the boat that we're in, it's like it kind of benefits Brad Holmes to wait it out. Like if you're gonna go make a move like that, it would kind of benefit you to do it in the off season where you got all year to get Crosby acclimated, and instead of 3 years, you only got 2 years. You could go from there and see what you got. As far as replacing Hutch, you can't replace Hutch. Brad Campbell, Brad Hunt, Dan Campbell was on the radio this morning. He did an interview, and they asked him, if Brad was to go out and make a trade for a player, what type of guy does Dan Campbell think would be a fit? And obviously obviously Dan Campbell, he stated you can't replace Hutch. And if anything, if they went out and got somebody, it would be more like a role player. It wouldn't be in his mind. It wouldn't be a big name because he acknowledged that acquiring a big name is going to take a lot of assets to give up. So he simply stated a role player. And we got to see a little bit of the two guys. I didn't notice them, but we obviously knew about Nowakowski going into the game. He's more of a linebacker, but he had a decent game. And then also we got Isaac Ukwu. He got some snaps. He had 2 tackles. He's a defensive end that they elevated from the practice squad before the game, actually before the Cowboys game, actually. So he just happened to be able to get in there. You still got your boy Josh Pascal, and James Houston is lingering in the background somewhere. And I also saw a little tidbit that the Lions signed Isaiah Thomas, who's a rookie or a second-year player for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a 7th-round pick that they took off of the Bengals practice squad. So he had pretty good. I think he had like 8 sacks in his last season in college. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, man. If Hutch, can the Lions win Super Bowl without Hutch is the number 1 topic. I think the number 2 topic has been, do the Lions go all in on the Super Bowl? I think you just basically answered the question for me. But do the Lions go all in on the Super Bowl and give up a lot of picks to acquire? Like you said, you can't replace Hutch, but acquire an equivalent, you know what I'm saying, to like Hutch, like Max Crosby or Myles Garrett? Or do they just or do they keep their picks and, you know what I'm saying, buy for the future and try to, win multiple Super Bowls? I mean, either way, it's a gamble, but which route would be the best? I am with you on not making all those acquisitions. Me giving up all our I give it up. Not giving up all our trades. I mean, our picks to get those acquisitions. I feel like I would love to have Max Crosby here. I would love to have Myles Garrett here, but I feel like I want to secure our future. So we have a team. We don't have to lose so many people, because we're gonna lose people. We're gonna lose people in the future just because of the cap. But if we go out and make a big acquisition like Max Crosby, I feel like we have to give up so much, and I'm just not willing to give up what it would take to get like a guy like him or Myles Garrett. Yeah, the guys that you named seem like more of a fit. They're more reasonable. They're like you say, you're not going to get the same production out of the guys that I think that Brad Holmes might go out and get. Like you said, they signed Isaiah Thomas. Those are the type of guys I expect to get. I heard people throwing around the name Trayvon Walker. We were supposed to get him instead of Hutch that 1 year, but we went with Hutch, which was the best decision we could have ever made. But now they're talking about he might be available, seeing that the Jags are going through what they're going through. What's the other dude's name? Kadarius Toney. I think that's the dude from the Bengals.
You talking about Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, for the Bengals. But no, the Bengals won last night, so I'm not sure what they would be willing to give if they are willing to give him up. And it's one more name, but I can't think of it right now.
You also got
somebody from the Giants.
Ojolari. That's the young talent. I guess he's on his last year of his deal, and he had a great game the other night. But when you talked about Trayvon Walker, that's a perfect way to explain how I feel, because I don't know who the Lions would have took, but Jacksonville had the #1 pick, and they took Trayvon Walker. So essentially, they made the decision for the Lions, and the Lions played the hand they was dealt. Took Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe they had Aiden Hutchinson as the #1. Who knows? But it all worked out, and that's kind of how I feel about Hutchinson's injury. In that, I like the way you put it. You know, do the Lions go all in? And now that Hutchinson's injured, I don't see it as going all in, which is why I don't want them to. Why I wouldn't advocate for them to make that trade. When I think of going all in, Hutchinson is involved in that decision. He going all in is your team is at full capacity, and you're doing something to put them over the edge, and that's Max Crosby. Going all in essentially to just get back to where you were. that just seems not smart. I understand now. If you think that you're a Super Bowl team, Hutch goes down, you're not a Super Bowl team, and now you go all in to get back to a Super Bowl team. That's cool, but nobody knows the future. Nobody knows if anybody else is gonna get hurt. So that gamble, in my opinion, isn't worth it unless you have full strength.
Yeah, man, I've heard a lot of people argue that if you give up 2 first-round picks and spend whatever you have to spend on Max Crosby, that it guarantees a Super Bowl win. But I don't think so. Like the way you put it. What if you take that gamble? You give up 2 first-round picks, and then Max Crosby get hurt. I mean, it's like you said. It's just not a gamble that I feel like is worth it. Brad Holmes' picks have been the backbone of this team for the last 3 years. It has made us what we are, and I'd rather see what he can do with those picks than take a gamble and have to pay a guy. I ain't gonna say more than what he's worth, then, but what I'm saying, have to pay a guy. To me, it feels like we would lose too many people that we need to pay in the future.
Yeah, on this part, we are on opposite sides of the fence. I'm about a couple steps away from F those picks, LA Ram style. Because I mean, when you really think about it, they're essentially second-round picks. All your first-round picks for the next couple of years are going to be second-round picks. You're going to be picking, hopefully one day you pick 32, but 31, 30, 29, 28, 27. Those are essentially second-rounders. And I'm sure you still have your second-rounders, and you can always move up in the draft, even though Brad's getting a little loosey-goosey, giving up future third and fourth for Bakis and Anus. But that being said, though, yeah, this is essentially going out and doing all of this would be a move of desperation. And at no point during the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell era have they operated from a position of desperation. So that's why I'm against it right now. The timing is just not right.
So speaking on the Trayvon Walker or any of the other names that we named out, who do you think is the perfect fit or who do you think is a Brad Holmes pick? Who's the most likely candidate? Do you think Trayvon Walker is a good fit here, or do you think maybe an older vet? Some other names were thrown out. I don't have them off the top of my head right now, but some older vets, maybe a 1 year or 2 year rental names were thrown around. Do you know anybody who you would consider a Brad guy, Dan Campbell guy that could come here?
A Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell guy. You know, this is one thing I like about this. One thing I like about Brad Holmes is that his moves are, I don't want to say they're predictable, but he's got a template, he's got a style, he's got a fit, and you can kind of look at some of his history. You know, he's not going to stray too far off the board. He loves athletic players, period. You get in the door with your athleticism. You can stay in the door with your attitude and your work ethic, and then take it from there. So there are plenty of names out there, but then you look at guys like Hassan Reddick is the easiest one to talk about because Hassan Reddick has a long list of reasons why his attitude and his work ethic can be put into question. And guys like that, they're not going to go get the Trayvon Walkers. Honestly, I don't think any of the names out there, because all of that is a position of desperation. So I don't think you're going to see the Trayvon Walkers, the Max Crosbys, the Garrett, Myles Garrett's, any of those guys. I'm looking at them right now. Azeez Ojulari. He's been in the league since 2021. His first season, he had 8 sacks, and then he followed that up with 5.5. Last year, he had 2.5, but this season he's got 3. Like I said, he's on a contract year. He's a former 2nd-round pick out of Georgia. I would love to probably after this pod, I'll probably look into him a little bit more and try to see some of his interviews, see what type of person he is, any news clips I can read on him. But I think that would probably be your most, if you were to go get a player that would instill excitement into fans. Not even a lot of excitement. A lot of people would be very disappointed if this was the move that they went out and did. But then there would be people who there would be some people. It would be half and half. Half of people would be disappointed. Half of the people would understand that you couldn't really go out there and do that much in the middle of the season, given what you're given. So I've been hearing
fans on everything.
I've been hearing a lot of speculation that they're going to go out and play Minnesota and then reassess where they're at after they play Minnesota.
Yeah, man, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do. I wouldn't put it past them to not make a move at all. The Isaiah Thomas move might be the only move that they make. I agree with that. I think they go out and they see what they got against Minnesota. See if, even though he hasn't all season, see if James Houston can step up, do something. See what I forgot. We got Wingo. We drafted Wingo. See if he can make any progress. You know what I'm saying? And just go from there. You know what I'm saying? And assess from there.